two friends were driving down a desolate highway in the dead of night when the atmosphere suddenly turned suffocatingly dense. A wave of bone-chilling shivers washed over both the driver and passenger. Yet, with no idea what lay ahead, they chose to push forward into the dark. They thought they were alone on the open road, until their headlights hit this. The moment she turns, her face distorts into a nightmare, revealing a bloody, gaping maw that seems physically impossible. What makes this footage truly chilling is the speed of the transformation. 1 second she is a normal girl, the next, a predatory entity. Terrified, the men slammed on the accelerator, fleeing the scene before she could move toward the car. The witnesses claim her mouth opened wide enough to swallow a person whole, leaving them in a state of pure panic. Some believe this is a kuchisake onna, or slit-mouthed woman manifestation, while others fear it was a demonic entity mimicking human form. Was that a warning from the road, or a hunter that nearly caught its prey? The Night Watcher. Jolted awake by a piercing scream, Mary approached her window to find a rigid stranger staring directly up at her from the street. A suffocating tension filled the room as she watched the motionless figure, relieved that a locked door stood between them. She was convinced the threat was safely outside, until a sound echoed from inside her own bedroom. Did you catch that? While the man watched from below, a distinct rhythmic scratching began to emerge from the darkness of her own closet. What makes this footage truly chilling is the realization that the man outside may have been a distraction for what was already inside. Terrified, Mary fled her home instantly and refused to return for an entire week. Upon her return, she discovered signs that the presence, nicknamed Mr. Joe, had been waiting for her the entire time. Some believe this was a coordinated home invasion, while others are convinced she was being targeted by a persistent entity. Was the man on the street a warning, or was he just watching his partner work? The Roof Monster. Late at night, a homeowner heard heavy footsteps pacing his roof, suggesting something much larger than an animal. Armed with his phone, he climbed a ladder to confront the noise, heart racing as he neared the gutter. Expecting a prankster or an intruder, he reached the top rung to defend his property, only to find this.
Fuck is that? What in the fuck? Wait a minute. Hey!
A pale humanoid head hangs over the edge of the roof, watching the man with a hollow, expressionless gaze. What makes this footage truly chilling is the entity's white freak appearance, an unnaturally smooth, skin-like texture that defies logic. The creature doesn't flinch or retreat. It simply anchors itself to the roof, monitoring the man's every move. The witness eventually scrambled back down, left with more questions than answers about the intruder in his home. Some believe this is a pale crawler, a modern urban legend known for haunting rooftops, while others fear a more demonic manifestation. Was it a physical creature of the night, or a nightmare that climbed out of the shadows? The Mirror Guest. A young woman filming a social media story was completely unaware she wasn't alone until her followers' comments exploded with terrified warnings. She was convinced the room was empty, until she rewatched the footage. A pale, distorted face was peeking from the shadows, staring directly into the mirror just inches away from her. The woman confirmed she was entirely alone in the building, leaving the figure's identity a complete mystery. Some viewers believe this is a mirror entity, a spirit manifesting only through reflections, while others are convinced an intruder slipped into her home. Was this a hidden trespasser, or something without a physical form? The half-silhouette behind the cabinet. Returning home from work, a man found the atmosphere heavy and his dog cowering in terror, as if warning him of an intruder. He pulled out his phone to document his pet's strange behavior, convinced the animal was just spooked by a noise. He moved cautiously toward the living room until his camera caught this. Did you catch that? Right there, behind the cabinet door, a blurry dark shadow appears for a split second. The figure looks distorted, as if compressed by an invisible force, showing only half of a silhouette before vanishing into the darkness. The man's heart raced as he screamed in terror, while the dog's fear intensified, letting out a low, aggressive growl at the empty shadows. What makes this footage so disturbing is the impossible way the figure moves, far too quick and fluid to be human. Some viewers believe this is proof of a spirit-attracting constitution, suggesting the man unwittingly brought something home with him. So, was that a trespasser hiding in the corner, or a manifestation of something that shouldn't exist in our world? The spectre on the bridge. Two friends were sitting on the edge of a remote, solitary bridge in the dead of night, simply passing the time in the deep darkness. The scene was quiet and mundane until the heavy silence was suddenly shattered by a chilling presence. They thought they were alone under the stars, until the camera caught this. Did you see it? A blurry white figure suddenly appears in the distance, standing perfectly still and watching them from the shadows. The atmosphere turned instantly to one of indescribable terror as the entity remained motionless, its gaze locked onto the pair. According to the footage, the shock caused one man to collapse unconscious. More disturbing, however, was his friend's reaction. Consumed by panic, he fled into the darkness, abandoning his companion with the apparition. While some viewers see this as a genuine restless soul, others suspect a coordinated prank. Ultimately, it raises the question, was it a real ghost, or was the true horror the friend who ran away? The second-story window. Awoken by scratching in his empty home, a young man cautiously investigated the dark rooms with his phone. As he approached a large window, a sudden heavy sense of being watched took hold. He was sure his imagination was playing tricks in the dark, until he pointed his camera at the glass. Did you catch that? Right there, pressed against the glass, a pale, distorted face staring directly into the room. What makes this footage so disturbing is the location. This window is on the second floor, with no balcony, no ledge, and no ladder anywhere in sight. There is no physical way for a human being to be standing outside that glass, looking in from such a height. According to the witness, the figure vanished the moment he tried to get closer, leaving nothing but a cold chill behind. Some viewers believe it's a leaper or a cryptid capable of scaling walls, while others think the camera captured a spirit that doesn't need to stand on solid ground. So, who or what was looking for a way inside? The entity in the tree. A research team ventured into a dense forest for a routine nighttime expedition. While exploring the undergrowth, they noticed unusual movement in the high canopy. Confused, they aimed their flashlights and phone cameras toward the dark foliage. The atmosphere turned heavy as the camera's zoom revealed a silhouette that shouldn't be there. Despite the team's frantic shouts for it to come down, the figure remained in a terrifying, absolute calm. They thought it was an animal, until the light focused on this.
Ya Allah, ya Rabbi. Allah. Teman-teman jelas gak? Lahiriah teman-teman jelas gak di layar handphone, teman-teman jelas gak?
A long-haired, dark entity is perched on a high branch, staring directly at the team with a piercing gaze. What's most unsettling is its appearance, human-like yet deformed features that reflect light in an unnatural way. While the men descend into panic, the creature remains motionless, as if stalking prey from above. One investigator tried to confront it, but the apparition didn't even blink at his screams. Some believe this is a tree entity, or a guardian spirit of the woods, while others suggest an unknown cryptid. Was it a camouflage person, or something that has always lived in the forest shadows? The forest humanoid. A man was hiking through a deep, silent forest when an eerie, crushing quiet settled among the trees. The silence was abruptly shattered by strange, skittering noises from the dense undergrowth, prompting him to pull out his phone to document what he thought was a simple wild animal. He was convinced he was just filming a curious deer until his lens locked onto this. An extremely gaunt entity, thin as a skeleton with long, slender limbs, emerges from the thick brush. What makes this footage truly compelling is its appearance. The disproportionately large head and large eyes are chillingly similar to the iconic gray alien. The being moves with a shocking insect-like agility before falling completely out of the camera's range. The witness claims he fled the scene instantly, visibly shaken by the encounter in the deep woods. Some believe this is a classic ET encounter caught on camera, while others suspect a crawler, a cave-dwelling cryptid. Was it a physical visitor from another world, or something that has always lived beneath the forest floor? The scarecrow entity. A team of investigators hiked to a forbidden, abandoned hut perched on a lonely hilltop. At the summit, they spotted a tall, rigid figure standing guard outside the entrance, perfectly silent and motionless. From a distance, they tried to rationalize the sight as a simple scarecrow, until the camera caught this.
Maju apa gimana nih? Aku berat betul badanku nih. Maju lagi kah?
Maju kah?
Ya mundur lagi. Oh, gemetar aku nih, Bro.
Did you catch that? The scarecrow suddenly sways with a deliberate muscular motion that clearly wasn't caused by the wind. What makes this footage truly chilling is the investigator's reaction as he whispers that the figure's face appears destroyed. The atmosphere shifted instantly from curiosity to pure dread as the team realized the guardian was watching them back. The investigators began to tremble, eventually retreating as the entity continued to occupy the doorway without making a sound. Some believe this is a tulpa, a thought form brought to life by local legends, while others fear it was a physical squatter in a mask. Was it a prop left behind, or a guardian that doesn't want visitors? The hanging entity. A young couple arrived at a picturesque waterfall, eager to document their weekend getaway in the lush tropical scenery. As the girlfriend panned her camera across the green cliffs, her expression went cold when she spotted a dark shape flickering on her screen. They were convinced they were alone in paradise, until they zoomed into the shadows. Suspended from a high branch, a gray anthropomorphic figure hangs perfectly still against the rocks. What makes this footage truly chilling is the entity's posture. Its head is bowed and its arms hang limp, yet it seems to float without any visible ropes. The face is a hollow void, lacking any human features, as if a ghostly silhouette were carved out of the darkness itself. The couple fled the area immediately after realizing the figure was not a person, but something far more spectral. Some believe this is a forest sentinel, a spirit tied to the waterfall, while others fear it's a manifestation of a past tragedy. Was it a trick of light and shadow, or was that entity waiting for them to get closer? The long-armed entity. A father took his children for a walk in the woods, expecting a peaceful afternoon outdoors. The quiet trails seemed safe until a sinister presence emerged from the brush. They thought they were alone, until the camera caught this.
Look at Carly!
Get up here, Carly! What the hell was that? The hell was that?
Did you see that? A figure with abnormally long, thin arms reaches out from the shadows, attempting to grab the man's daughter. The father's desperate screams fill the air as he frantically pulls her away from the reaching limbs. What makes this footage so chilling is the entity's distorted anatomy. Many viewers are convinced this is a witch or a non-human entity known to haunt deep forests. So, was this a supernatural predator lying in wait? Or something the world isn't meant to see? The floating spectre of the wasteland. A YouTube investigator and his friend ventured into a remote, decaying building in the dead of night, seeking to document the secrets of the isolated structure. The air was heavy with a deathly silence as they navigated the dark corridors. They thought they were just exploring an empty ruin, until the camera caught this.
Tá vindo o carro. Ai, cara! Olha lá, velho! Olha lá, cara! Olha ela, cara! Ela tá lá, cara! Ela tá lá, já viu? Ela tá ali de novo, já viu? Cara, que susto, velho!
As they rounded a corner, a dark shadow emerged from behind a wall, staring fixedly at them, before vanishing instantly. Despite their racing hearts, they pushed deeper into the suffocating atmosphere, only to find the true nightmare waiting for them as they tried to leave.
Nada aí, cara. Meu Deus. Olha lá, já vi. Ela tá vindo pra cá, cara. Entra no carro, entra no carro, entra no carro, entra no carro.
Hovering in midair, a pale woman with expressionless features and hollow eyes appeared before them, seemingly frozen between worlds. The investigators described the encounter as a waking nightmare, leaving many to wonder if this location is a gateway for restless spirits. So, was this a residual haunting trapped in time, or something far more malevolent? The Railway Woman. A late-night recording near a remote train track captured a chilling encounter with a local legend known as the Railway Woman. This area is notorious for its heavy atmosphere, but investigators weren't prepared for what manifested in the darkness. They thought they were just filming empty tracks, until the camera caught this. Did you see her? A female figure suddenly appears near the tracks, standing in the exact spot where a woman reportedly took her own life. Local legends warn that her spirit isn't just a passive observer. She is said to actively bewitch those who cross her path, luring them toward a fatal end. What makes this footage so unsettling is the suddenness of her manifestation. Some believe this is a residual haunting, a soul trapped in a tragic loop, while others fear she is a predatory entity seeking a companion for the afterlife. So, was that just a trick of the light, or a warning from beyond the grave? The office spectre. A man finishing a late-night shift in a vast, darkened office building felt a heavy sense of eyes following him through the silent cubicles. Unnerved, he pulled out his phone to document the shadows, hoping to prove his imagination was simply playing tricks. As he panned the camera across the empty desks toward a deep, unlit corner, the atmosphere turned cold. He was convinced he was just tired and paranoid, until he panned his camera here.
¿Qué es lo que se ve ahí? ¿Qué se ve? Ay, no manches.
A pale, gaunt face with piercing, glowing eyes is staring directly at him from the darkness. What makes this footage truly chilling is the predatory stillness of the entity. It doesn't hide, it simply watches. The man entered a state of pure panic, fleeing the building without looking back. The witness claims he will never step foot in that office after hours again, fearing the entity is still waiting in the cubicles. Some believe this is a corporate shadow, a spirit tied to the stress of the building, while others fear a more demonic presence. Was it a trick of the office lights? Or is someone still working the night shift? The sentinel at the window. An urban explorer stepped into a long abandoned house, navigating the dust-heavy rooms using only the green glow of his camera's night vision. Through the lens, he spotted a tall, dark figure standing perfectly still by a window across the room. He looked up from the screen, expecting to find a person standing right in front of him. He thought he was face to face with a squatter, until he saw this.
It just doesn't feel good. What was that?
What?
I don't think that was a shadow, but it was on the other side of that window.
For a few clear seconds, a tall, solid shadow is visible right next to the window frame. What makes this footage so terrifying is the investigator's reaction. He saw the figure clearly on his camera, but the moment he looked up to see it with his own eyes, the area was empty. There was no sound of footsteps, no slamming doors, and no time for a human to have escaped. According to the witness, he was left visibly shaken, unable to explain how something so large could vanish instantly. Some believe that night vision cameras pick up light frequencies that the human eye cannot see, while others are convinced the house is guarded by a shadow person that disappears the moment it's spotted. So, was that a trick of the technology, or a spirit that only exists in the dark? The pale face on the beach. A man took a quiet walk along a desolate, unfinished stretch of coastline, enjoying a beach completely emptied of tourists and workers. Seeking some peace, he pulled out his phone to record the rhythmic crashing of the waves. The serene scenery shifted when a sudden movement caught his eye near a cluster of rocks. He panned his camera, expecting to find a stray animal or debris, until he focused his lens here. Did you catch that? A strikingly pale face is seen staring intensely at the man from across the shoreline. What makes this footage truly chilling is the impossible timing. The camera moves away for a split second, and the figure vanishes. There are no footprints in the soft sand, and no place for a physical person to hide in such an open area. The witness was left baffled, wondering if he had encountered a lost soul wandering the forgotten coast. Some believe this is a beach wraith, a spirit tied to the tide, while others fear a more modern urban legend. Was it a trick of the ocean mist, or a warning from the deep? The silent follower. An urban investigator explored a remote, abandoned site, certain he and his partner were entirely alone. After hours documenting the decay, he reviewed his footage only to find a dark silhouette in the shadows, moving in perfect sync with his every step. He thought he was leading the way, until he saw what was tracking him from the darkness.
Okay. So, I guess that's a good thing. Maybe I could do some paranormal stuff. Check this out. Are we gonna go to the stairs up there? I guess that's a good thing. Maybe I could do some paranormal stuff. Check this out. Are we gonna go to the stairs up there?
Way in the background, a dark, distinct shadow emerges from a doorway and begins to track his every move. What makes this footage so disturbing is the timing. It doesn't just stand there, it waits until he moves forward, then steps out to follow at a calculated distance. The investigator confirmed that his only companion was filming far ahead of him, leaving the identity of this third figure a complete mystery. Some viewers believe this is a guardian entity, a spirit tied to the location that follows intruders to ensure they leave. Others are convinced it was a physical squatter who had been watching the pair from the shadows the entire time. So, was that a restless soul, or a predator waiting for the right moment to strike? The abandoned lesson. In a quiet school hallway, a security camera captured a student finishing her work on a wooden bench before leaving a single book behind. The corridor remained still and deserted under the hum of fluorescent lights, seemingly mundane despite staff complaints about displaced objects. They had always blamed forgetful students, convinced it was just a messy hallway, until they reviewed the tapes. The book doesn't just fall, it slides across a level surface as if dragged by an invisible hand. It doesn't slip, it travels with deliberate, constant momentum toward the edge. No open windows or vibrations exist to explain such a steady, horizontal force. Staff found the book the next morning in a position that made no logical sense. Some suspect a residual haunting of a former student, while others blame a restless poltergeist. Was it a slick surface? Or was someone else waiting for her to leave? The angel in the alleyway. A resident was walking home late at night through a dark passage. At first, everything seemed completely normal, just an empty and quiet alley. But suddenly, they started hearing something strange. A voice echoing in the dark that didn't belong. Something just didn't feel right. So they took out their phone and recorded this. Take a closer look. Amidst the trash and the darkness, a pale figure dressed in white appears, with huge wings on its back. But what makes this even more unsettling is that it appears to be floating, suspended in midair without any visible support. According to the footage, the figure makes no natural movements. Some viewers believe it could be a well-produced prank using wires hidden in the dark, while others think the camera captured something much more disturbing. So, what exactly was waiting for them in that alleyway?